Gathering in Guild Wars 2 is a fairly straightforward process. Unlike many other MMORPGs, there are no specific gathering skills that you need to train. All you need to mine, log, and harvest plants are the appropriate tools, and these can be bought from NPC vendors found throughout the game. Because gathering yields not only crafting materials, but also experience for gathering and experience from gathering achievements, I would recommend that everyone buy and use crafting tools appropriate for the zone they're in, whether they plan on doing much crafting or not. If you're having trouble finding an NPC to sell you tools, you can always find a full selection of gathering tools for sale from any of the crafting discipline trainers. You'll probably notice that there are several different tiers of gathering tools. If you're just starting out and planning to gather in any of the level 1 to 15 zones, copper tools will be perfectly adequate. As you move into higher level zones, you'll start to need higher tier tools. Higher tier tools can gather all of the materials listed on their tooltip, as well as all materials gathered with lower tier tools. Once you've bought the tools, you do need to equip them to your character in order to use them. You can do this by double-clicking on the tool in your inventory, right-clicking the tool in your inventory and selecting Equip from the context menu, or opening your character sheet and dragging the tool from your inventory to the appropriate tool slot located below the accessory slots on the right side of the pane. Now you're set to begin gathering. Ore veins, trees, and plants that you can gather from are shown on your minimap. They're shown whether you have tools equipped or not, and you don't have to do anything special to make them show up. Gathering is easy. Simply approach the node and either right-click on it or press your interaction hotkey. Keep in mind that gathering nodes are exclusive to each character, meaning that you can have one person or 10 people gathering from the same node and they'll all get the same amount of materials as they would if they had been the only ones gathering from it. You'll notice that each tool has a number on its icon. For mining picks and logging axes, this number normally starts at 100, and for harvesting sickles it starts at 50. This is the durability of the tool, and it decreases each time you use the tool until it reaches 0, at which point the tool is broken and will disappear. Gathering from a plant will reduce the durability of a harvesting sickle by 1, fully depleting a normal ore vein or tree will reduce the durability of your mining pick or logging axe by 3, and fully depleting a rich ore vein will reduce the durability of your mining pick by 10. I highly recommend that you carry a spare of each tool at all times so that you can swap one in when your current tool breaks. In addition to the gathering tools, we need to take a moment to talk about salvage kits. Salvage kits are used to break down weapons, armor, and items specifically labeled as salvage items into raw crafting materials. Salvage kits can be bought from the same NPCs who sell you tools, and you should really have at least one stack in your inventory at all times. Breaking down armor will typically yield ore from heavy armor, leather from medium armor, and cloth from light armor. Breaking down weapons will usually give you either ore or wood. As well, you'll often come across items dropped from monsters like cloth scraps or torn hides that are labeled as salvage items. Make sure you're checking the tooltips on things that look like junk before you sell them to a vendor, because these are the kinds of items where a lot of your cloth and leather are going to come from. Next, we need to talk about fine crafting materials. These are things like vials of blood, venom sacs, claws, and fangs, to name a few. If you loot a monster and get an item with a blue name that lists a bunch of crafting disciplines in its tooltip, it's a safe bet that it's a fine crafting material. These items are used in crafting finished weapons and armor to determine what stats are on that gear. The only crafting disciplines that don't use these items are jeweler and chef, so for most crafters these items are very important and should be kept until needed, never sold or destroyed. It's a good idea to pay attention to what mobs are dropping what items when you're out adventuring in the world, because if a particular kind of mob drops a particular kind of fine crafting material, you'll know in the future that if you need that kind of fine crafting material, you can hunt down that kind of mob to get it. Lastly, there are some items you'll need that are only available as a purchase from NPC vendors. Examples would be lumps of tin for making bronze ingots or different kinds of thread. Whenever you train a crafting discipline, take a look at what the trainer has for sale so that when you see those items in a recipe, you know where to find them. Once you've got all of these items, we need someplace to store them, so that's our next topic.